A StarCraft strategist has the ability to combine the innovative, perceptive, and holistic insights of a build order with the pragmatic and systemic skills of a pro to guide strategic direction in the StarCraft universe. Introducing the Strategist.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 10 of The Strategist. My name is OctanePro, and joining me, as always, from sunny, very hot California, is Buddha. Buddha, how's it going?
It's bad hair day, Buddha. Apparently, I really need a haircut, man.
Well, awesome, dude. Well, outside of needing a haircut and being a scrub, a lot of StarCraft been going on recently. WCS Europe just finished up this afternoon. Spoiler alert. Stefano won. Not really surprised. I mean, I thought
not a spoiler.
I thought Thorzane, definitely would have put up a little bit better of a fight in the tournament. But regardless, congratulations to Stefano, especially Evil Geniuses. I mean, that's pretty cool to pick up a player and then like 2 weeks later he's like winning a tournament, getting first place. That's pretty ridiculous.
He's cursed, man. He only won Europe. He's cursed.
Yeah, dude, I love that video they put out.
That was an awesome video.
That was pretty good. Like, kind of like feeding off of like Team Liquid's kind of Liquid Rising. Very creative. And I swear, Jeff Robinson in like another life was an actor somewhere.
Yeah, if you guys, what is the website for that video, by the way? Is it egcurse.com or something?
It may be. You could check it out. But anyways, in the meantime, we're going to be jumping in here in just a few. Just actually wanted to, we never really talked about it, so I thought I'd let our viewers know what exactly you do for Impulse Gaming and what Impulse Gaming really is. So go ahead and pimp it.
Impulse Gaming is a semi-professional StarCraft 2 team, and I was the 8 team manager for them, but I dropped that position because I got kind of busy with casting and this, and I want to do some other shows and stuff. So, basically right now I just cast ISTL for them, but I'm also still technically on management.
Okay.
But they're really cool. If you guys want to check them out, you can check them out at impulseesports.com. They host the ISTL, and they're really trying to drive themselves through building a community and not just like throwing money at stuff blindly for, trying to keep players on their team. So they're rebuilding right now, but really high Masters GM team, really cool.
Sweet, sweet. Well, definitely make sure you guys check that out. I've caught it on a number of occasions, and it's really sweet to watch. So also to Flip Knight in the chat channel, yes, that is what we were talking about. Lucifron, definitely. Was an awesome game. Awesome series as well, too. He actually played his brother, which was pretty cool. Lucifron did. So that was kind of cool that they interviewed both of them, and it was kind of a brother-to-brother to head matchup. But anyways, you guys aren't here to hear us kind of ramble. You're definitely here to learn a little bit more about StarCraft. Before we jump in, going to talk about a Streamer of the Week, which is a new segment that we started a few weeks back. This week I picked Maximus Black, which you guys can check him out at twitch.tv/lagtv Maximus Black. And pretty much Maximus Black is a popular YouTube commentator, and that's kind of where he started, his grassroots were. And since then, he's moved up as a Masters, actually, Protoss player, and has recently been picked up by Quantic Gaming after Check 6 disbanded. And from my understanding, Check 6 disbanded due to losing too many valuable players. Many of you may know of actually one of EG's most recent players that was picked up, EG Suppy, was actually on Check 6 prior to that, and was a teammate of Maximus Black. But anyways, make sure you guys go check him out. He did start out as Zerg in Wings of Liberty and actually migrated over to Protoss. He kind of felt that Protoss was a little bit stronger of a race, and so of course,
I wouldn't go that far. That's making assumption.
Anyways, he's been attending a few of the MLGs, so make sure you check him out. And he has some great videos out there. A lot of you, if you've heard of Maximus Black before, have heard of his series on YouTube called Quest to Diamond Masters and Grandmasters. So make sure you guys go check that out on YouTube. Also, biggest point I want to point out is twitch.tv/lagtv Maximus Black. And you can go ahead and check him out. He's a lot of fun to watch. And the other day, I actually stopped at my channel. Just showed up, said, hey, on my off time when I'm not streaming, you know, I like to check out some of the smaller streams and show my support. So really cool guy, and I really appreciated him stopping by. So did a lot of my other viewers. So it was really cool. And I think that will conclude our Streamer of the Week segment. Unless, Buddha,
actually,
do you have anything
I
else?
have 2 things to say about Maximus Black.
Sweet, go for it.
One, he's actually a really good singer. He actually has an album out that you can get for free. If you go to his stream, there's a link to it and stuff. He just like makes albums about like StarCraft music, like covers and stuff, and they're really good. But second, if you haven't seen it already, When Cheese Fails is what Maximus Black is really got famous for, and it's a hilarious people cheesing on ladder and stuff, and then he gets the replays from these people cheesing, and it's hilarious. It's like cheese going totally wrong, and it's one of the most entertaining things on the internet, I think.
That's pretty cool. I actually have to look that up. I didn't realize he.
You haven't seen When Cheese Fails?
I haven't seen When Cheese Fails, nor
Cancel
have I
the show.
seen his album.
Octane, go watch it right now.
Cancel. We're out.
It's not funny, man.
We're out. No, just kidding. I'll definitely have to check it out afterwards, though, especially his album. He doesn't really come across as somebody that can sing, so
he is a good singer, too, let me tell you.
Now, granted,
he can sing like Jack Black, man. Tenacious D's got all over it.
Now, I did see him at MLG, actually. If anyone saw him stream, I don't know if they showed it, when someone made, like, the Super Saiyan, like, cutouts, and he put, like, on the fire, like, the Super Saiyan hair, and he like, oh, it was really cool. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see that, but I saw him on stream go.
Yeah. It was pretty sweet. It was awesome. But, anyways, back to StarCraft 2 a little bit more and learning a little bit. Tonight we're gonna kind of go over something a little different. Tonight's show is gonna be pretty much about the IPL TAC 3. And there's a few players that we're going to focus on, but I think the main one is really Tasia, correct?
Yeah, it's going to be Taeja's TvP, Terran versus Protoss.
Okay. Well, excellent. Well, sounds good. Well, let's go ahead and without further ado, jump into game number 1, and we'll go from there. And I do have that loaded up on my side. How are you looking, Buddha?
Good.
All right, 1 sec. Let's get some audio for these fine folks.
Make sure you minimize that bar, too. Oh, you're already on top of it. Oh, my.
Godlike. All right, we're going to go ahead and start this replay in 3, 2, and 1. And in the bottom right-hand corner, representing Team IM, we have IM Protoss, which is actually IM Seed.
That's correct. And at the top left, we have Liquid Tasia playing as the Blue Terran. And this is actually... all of these replays are from IPL's TAC 3. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's Team Arena Challenge 3. Really, IPL, of course, everyone here has heard of, I'm assuming. But IPL TAC 3, really cool tournament. They had some pool play last season. It was a really long season, and these are the grand finals between Liquid and IM. And it actually goes for a really long time. Really awesome series. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, definitely do.
Yeah, IM Seed actually becoming a little bit more popular recently, actually, just because of some of the tournaments he's been participating in and some of his play styles. So I've actually, even though I'm a Terran player, I've actually really enjoyed watching IM Seed and his skill set develop and some of these big matches that he's been put into, actually seeing a little bit at the last MLG.
Yeah, Seed actually won the last GSL, of course. So. Yep.
So some interesting play.
Really good.
He is a very good player. But what we're seeing out of Tasia as of right now, nothing too crazy. One thing to keep in mind is the placement of the barracks. It's kind of a little bit unique. If you actually go in the vision of IM Seed, he didn't see it coming in, and now he has scouted it. I do not know if Tasia was hoping to hide that at first or what, but either way, IM Seed does know that, okay, the barracks is there, and I shouldn't expect a proxy barracks.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit... of a really cool spot. It kind of hides it a little bit from the probe, but ultimately, his SCV can't get hit all the time by that probe. Yeah. So, you know, he can stay a little longer at his mineral line and not get hit. But as we can see, Taeja is also taking a gas here. So, you know, Seed sees that there's a gas, and he's going to have to play a little bit more carefully. We've been over this before in a couple of our other replays. When Protoss sees Terran take a gas, what's the response? Well, the response is usually a second gas. So that's what we're going to see out of Seed in just a second here.
Yeah, nothing too crazy actually out of IM Seed. We've actually gone over the 4-gate, we've gone over Forge Fast Expand, we've gone over so many Protoss builds, but you know, this one right now, developing into a double gas right now with the Cybernetics core. And on the opposite side of the map, we are just seeing a barracks directly into a factory. But one thing to keep in mind is that there is no add-on up to this point for our barracks.
Yeah, and you know, that generally is going to lead to a fast factory like we have right now. So we're probably going to see a reactor come down on that barracks for, of course, additional marine production. And so that he doesn't have to make that extra supply depot quite as quickly. And a second gas goes down for Tasia. So that tells us at this point it can be Cloak. It's even a little bit late for Cloak. I know that sounds crazy, but it is. But we'll see what he does with it, of course. And second gas down for Seed. He's going to play really carefully against this. Going to go for that Robo really quickly, get an Observer out, and just not die to anything here.
Yeah, this is actually a very safe build by MC. It's going to give him some early scouting, some early knowledge on his opponent. If you go ahead and actually look at Taeja's view, you know, all he sees so far is one gas along with the gate and the Cybernetics core. So he does not know about the double gas, nor does he know about the Robo. So this is some really valuable information that Tasia does not have just yet. So we'll have to see, you know, how long it takes actually Tasia to scout this out to learn a little bit more about his opponent.
Yeah, and, you know, Seed is playing, like, the most careful game in the world here. He doesn't want to add that third gate because he doesn't want to, like, all in defensively. He just wants to have enough to hold off, you know, a Banshee opening or a T-Rax opening or something like that. And as we can see, that Observer is the first thing to get Chrono Boosted out here. A couple of sentries coming down. And Seed is going to scout again and try to see if he can find a Marauder, try to see if he can find a Banshee. What kind of tech is it is all he wants to know. If he sees a Hellion, he knows it's factory tech, right? So he's gonna go ahead and push out with a probe here and throw down a pylon, I think. But his Observer's heading straight for the enemy base, and he's gonna be ready for whatever it is, and he knows it. So he throws down a Nexus, and he's just gonna keep making units gradually here.
Yeah, and actually, as we were talking about there, Tasia not having much scouting information. Tasia did scout the Nexus, so that's about it. But looking at the flip side with IMC, the scouting goes both ways. If we go ahead and look actually at IMC's vision, he has not seen anything but a barracks right now and one gas. So he has no clue what the tech path is. And this Observer is going to give him a ton of information. Right off the bat, he does see the barracks there, and he's going to float forward and actually see the starport with the tech. And he can see the tech actually working there, so he does know that, okay, I have a Cloak Banshee, and he does know how to prepare from here on out.
He does. And, you know, he also sees the command center, and that's really important. He knows that Taeja's not going to go completely all in with this, so he knows he needs to play a macro game himself and just have the correct counter to this to really hold on and just get ahead a little bit as his Nexus finishes up. And Taeja starts a second command center, which Seed did not scout. And that's also important, because if you see a second command center after this, generally I think the idea is you kind of need to all in against him.
Correct. And right now we have a small handful of Marines for Taeja. He has a siege, a tank on the way, excuse me. And on the other side of the field, one thing to pay attention to is the robotics bay actually getting built at the very back of IM Seed's base. So right now Seed is actually looking, I don't want to say ahead, but he's looking very comfortable. He has the Observer available to counter that Banshee, and he actually has the second base well ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, all of his tech was scouted except that robotics support, or not support bay, it's not Brood War, except for that robotics bay. He just got into vision right on the edge and then didn't see it. So a Raven comes out, siege mode coming out for Taeja, and he has those two additional command centers, which is really weird, right? Normally we just see this tank, medevac, and marine push come out here. But, you know, now he's going to expand off of this, and he's going to push out with one tank and a number of Marines. Normally we see the second tank come out before the push out, but he's just trying to... He's actually hoping his opponent has one of the towers and sees this coming so that he can, you know, like, fake it and be like, oh, I'm coming at you, what you going to do? And then he's just going to pull right back. And, well, Seed didn't see it, unfortunately, for him, and he has Observers all over the place, so of course he'll be fine. But these tanks are actually going to be okay defensively, too, and I think that's really important to note, is that Taeja didn't just invest in these to fake and all-in. They're also going to help him hold any kind of counter all-in that Seed wants to do from this point.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing several additional, actually, gateways going down, moving into warp gates at the moment. for IMC. And something to pay attention to is that actually IMC has had a Harvester count lead this entire matchup. But now that Taeja has actually finally moved into his natural, that distance between the Harvester count is actually decreasing. And it looks like Taeja has now met that. So right now we do have an equal economy from both players. And right now it's just going to come down to production facilities and also micro of their units.
Yeah, and also we have 2 Colossus out, of course, because that is the tech that Seed was going for. And this is generally a really good counter to a tech-heavy build when you get ahead on an expansion, right? Seed has been mining from this base for a long time. Tasia has not been mining from his natural for a very long time. So there's going to be this discrepancy in money left over here that Seed is going to try to take advantage of. And that's exactly what he should be doing. But because Tasia opened tanks, he's actually going to do really well against this because all of Seed's units are going to clump up on a ramp here.
Yeah, and most players do not go with Siege Tanks. I actually like to see that Tasia actually did this. You know, Siege Tank play is really good for positioning versus Protoss. And right here, those Siege Tanks are going to help him hold this off. He is able to push back the army of IMC. And right now, one thing to pay attention to, guys, which is a pretty common counter for the Colossi, is actually Vikings. And actually, Tasia opted to go with the Raven in order to kind of defend that first push until he could actually get out the Vikings to actually support those Colossi attacks.
Yeah, and, you know, his Siege Tanks kind of, I don't want to say replace Vikings, but
yeah,
they stand in the place of, right? They're really long-range units. They have longer range than Vikings. There's no Immortals out on the field. They outrange the Colossus on the ground, and they do additional splash damage to the ground units. So, in essence, against this kind of army that stacks up so well, they're actually almost better to have. Especially in a defensive stationary position like this. So Tasia patiently waiting, knowing I can lose a refinery. It's not a big deal. He just knows he can't overcommit against this because it would be a terrible decision.
Yeah, I mean, right now, what IMC is trying to do is actually get up to the far right side of that natural in order to affect the economy without getting hit from the Siege Tanks to the left. And I've actually run into this several times on Ohana. And Tasia did a beautiful job of holding it off, slowly creeping up his Siege Tank in order to take advantage of the distance, and did very well actually holding it off. We do see several proxy pylons that Tasia is going to go ahead and clean up and scout, and now Tasia can actually push out onto the map as he has a little bit more map control and actually a little bit more actual control of this game up to this point.
Yeah, and I do want to say that Tasia's had this third base kind of running in his main for a long time. It's now 53 to 50 Harvesters in Tasia's favor, and now he's trying to take a third, so he kind of got faked out that there was a little bit of an all-in coming at the beginning. It was a very tech-heavy build. It had 2 gases. It delayed the expansions a lot, but Tasia got his expansions up faster even with that. So really Seed is in an okay position here. He's got his tech coming out, right? He's got Storm. He's got High Templar. He's getting charged, but Tasia, you know, is going to start 1-1 in a second here. His opponent's only starting +1, and Tasia's completely teched out, man. He's got tanks, he's got Vikings, he's got Ravens, he's got Medivacs, Marine Marauder. There's nothing he is missing from this composition that he would want except Ghosts.
One thing to point out, actually, that I did spot, which I think Tasia actually forgot about, was Combat Shield. He just finished researching it right there, which is most likely he forgot about it. I mean, there's no strategic value to taking Combat Shield way late in the game. But anyways, jumping back into the game, I agree with you. Tasia now having a very strong lead with that early third command center, which we're actually seeing more and more Terran taking that third command center early, but then keeping it in their main, where actually Tasia did, in order to just use it to build back their economy, get ahead in Harvesters, and then take advantage of that orbital command with the mules. So very wise decision by Tasia. I really like it. And yeah, we'll have to see kind of how this progresses here, and if he stays with a bio army, or if he migrates more into a tech army. The only reason I said it is because now he's starting to get more into Banshees. He's got the Vikings, he's got the Ravens, he's got the tanks. So we'll have to see how this develops for him.
Yeah, and as we can see, he's actually lifted his factory off, so he's not going to make any more tanks. It's down at the bottom of the map now. He is adding that Ghost Academy to help deal with the High Templar a little bit, but as we can see, 3 Colossus, a bunch of High Templar and Archon, and a lot of just Gateway units are kind of crashing down on Tasia here. The supplies are relatively even. There's no blink, but there is charge, so the upgrades being in Tasia's favor is going to help 1-1 against 1-0. But on the other hand, this is a completely fleshed out Protoss army with no ghosts. And Seed actually backed off there because he didn't know what was going on, because that Ravens kept sniping the observers, right?
Yeah.
Seed doesn't know what he's getting into at any point in time if he tries to attack here. He could just lose his whole army if he's not completely prepared.
Yeah, as of right now, Seed actually does not know that the third was taken. So right now, actually, Seed's like, okay, I'm going to get the 2-base Terran. He can make an assumption just from his experience that he has expanded up to this point. But right now, Tasia is getting the valuable information that, okay, there is an expansion up by IMC. And so now he knows, okay, do I want to drop into maybe his main and pressure his third or vice versa? But this is going to give him a ton of information and allow him to know how to pretty much press on from here.
Yeah. So it does look like Taeja actually lifted 2 of his tanks into a medevac, so we'll see what he's going to do with that. That's a little bit weird. I know he wants to be as mobile as possible against this army so he can kite it and not have to sit in one place and babysit tanks, but he might do it for some probe harass, actually. You can one-shot probes with 2 tanks. And as we see, there are currently 4 ghosts out on the field. It's a lot of gas invested in ghosts. More is going down. A 4th base is in production. Taeja's just completely preparing himself for the middle and end of the game here.
Yeah, and there the siege tank drop actually in the 4th. He is going to go ahead and almost pick off a pylon, and now he's trying to run away, and it looks like he's going to leave those tanks there to die. Not really sure exactly what his hope was there. Maybe, as you were saying, to take out a few probes, but unfortunately a loss for those siege tanks right now. And it looks like we have a small branch of IMC's army pressing forward. That Colossi is going to get taken out. And Ghost out front, getting targeted by the Protoss army. Cloak is not up, so the Ghosts are getting picked off very quickly. A few High Templar got picked off, but I do not think that was an even trade, actually.
Oh, it definitely wasn't. He was waiting for those High Templar to show up, and see, he did a good job keeping them behind. Whether or not it was the speed of the High Templar, I'm not sure. But a good choke for Tasia here. He's going to get a lot of Colossus splash, but very good job kiting the Zealots out. More Ghosts come down, immediately get kind of wiped here. And these Storms are doing a great deal of damage to Tasia's army. He's going to have to kite behind his third. But look at the production. It's 5 Ghosts, 10 Marines, and a Marauder at a time. The production for Tasia is pretty off the hook, and they're still at even supply here.
Correct, and now we see some more Ghosts coming in with some Marines as well. We have +3 for weapons, actually, for Tasia. About 50% completed right now. And the only thing that's actually keeping Tasia back and not able to press forward is the fact that most of his army is trapped between the command center 4th and the Vespian Gas. And now that he lifted that, he might be able to get a little bit out there to actually attack this very heavy Immortal army. But one thing to keep in mind is there are no shields actually up for the Immortals right now.
Yeah, I think the really important thing here is there's no splash for Protoss anymore, right? He lost all that, so his Immortals do a great deal of damage to Marauders. Even they're even okay against Marines. I mean, they'll like 3-shot them or something, so they're not absolutely horrific. They have a pretty good attack speed and stuff, but he couldn't deal with that Terran army anymore, and he did have to back off. So now with only a tiny supply lead, worker count's 54 to 62, pretty close, actually in Terran's favor with how many muley thingies he had.
Yeah, he actually he just took that 4th actually on the left-hand side and is actually morphing it into a planetary fortress. And just as he got that, he actually dropped down a ton of mules. So missing a few mules there along the way during that very heavy micro-intensive battle. But he is recovering from it well. He's taking that 4th there, and at the same time, he's actually taking the 5th. It looks like it will actually be spotted by IMC, and we'll have to see how he actually reacts to that now.
Yeah, and from this point, the game still looks like it's in Seed's favor. I mean, he is getting +3 armor. He does have 2 attack. And Tasia, on the other hand, is, I think, at 3-2. Yes, he is at 3-2 for weapons. Weapons and armor, respectively, I guess, is how I'll put that. And, you know, it's looking like a pretty even game, but Seed does have, you know, all this tech on the field, and Terran's not very good at dealing with it. So, in this case, if Tasia were going to lose, I would just stop the replay and be like, yeah, he lost. He didn't, you know, he let the Protoss tech. Protoss is on a ton of bases, but somehow Tasia's going to come back and win this game. So we're just going to sit here and admire the beauty with a moment of silence, I guess.
Yeah, we actually saw a lack of micro by IMC in the bottom left-hand corner. We did have a drop, actually, from Liquid. Tasia took out 2 Zealots and 1 High Templar that were not microed whatsoever. So the High Templar was picked off very quickly by those Marines. And this is actually denying the 4th of IMC. So right now, we're actually seeing a shift in economy. The 4th is not yet completely, completely established. I mean, yeah, he has a few probes that are mining there, but if you look on the flip side of things, the 4th has been established for Liquid Tasia, and now he's actually moving on to his 5th, getting some units there as well.
And a big battle on the right side of the map had just occurred too. Now look at the supply. It's 186 to 146. I'm not sure if you're at the exact same point in the replay I am.
Yep.
But, like, Tasia is all of a sudden way ahead. And, you know, a lot of that does come down to the timing of the Protoss' 4th base. The fact that Tasia could deny mining there. Now, you know, Seed is basically mining on 1 base, now back at 2, but with, you know, far less probes and less money than he wants to have.
Yeah, both players doing an excellent job actually spending their economy here. They have a very large amount of production facilities. Actually, right now, what are we looking at here? 10 barracks, and sitting at about 65 Marines and 12 Ghosts. So this is going to be... The Ghost is what's going to matter here. Getting off the EMPs and getting off the snipes on the High Templar. If they can be properly completed actually by Liquid Tasia, it will pretty much dominate the remainder of this game. But if IMC can actually pick off the Ghost and actually catch Tasia off guard, that could completely change the fluctuation of where this game is headed. So let's kind of see how that goes.
Yeah, it definitely can. And right now, Tasia has 14 Ghosts, though. He has got Vikings, he's got Marines, he's got Marauders and Medevacs with health and energy still. So Tasia's basically gonna walk over this army with blanket EMPs. And I mean, I would say let's stop the replay because this is at this point Tasia's kind of won the game, but let's just see how the battle goes.
Yeah. So battle underway here. We do see several EMPs going off. So many Vikings that are just going to pick off these Colossi right now. There are no gateway units left at this point, just Colossi. The Vikings are picking them off very easily. A few High Templar in the back. The Bio Army just pressing forward of Liquid Tasia, and all that's really left is 2 Marauders and 4 Vikings. And pretty much Tasia has this in the bag here. We're taking care of these Colossi. It's all that's left is a small handful of High Templar. And now we get to see how quickly Liquid Tasia can refill his army and reinforce versus IMC. And right now, we're looking at 136 to 101. So that gap has already started.
Yeah, Tasia just killed off like 3k gas of the Protoss. The Protoss is out of gas. He's just finished his 4th again. He's got to start that 2nd gas there. Start mining from that 1st one. So this game's basically over, so we can go ahead and hop out of this guy.
Excellent. Sounds good. So game 1 is done. Tasia versus Seed. Once again, if you guys are just joining us, this is actually from IPL TAC 3. We're actually going through and reviewing a few of these games for the analysis side of it, kind of the differentiating it from your typical casting of just saying, hey, here's a game, take a look at it. If you guys are actually new to watching us, this is episode 10. The first few episodes are actually hour and 15-minute long episodes that highly focus on independent builds. So if you're looking for builds that focus on, let's say, a 2-Rex for Terran, or you're looking for a 7 Roach Rush that DRG uses, make sure you actually look below and check out our YouTube. It's actually youtube.com/thestrategistTV. We have an hour and 15-minute long, pretty much lesson to you guys with a lot of replays and everything like that. So make sure you guys go check that out. And we'd love to hear from you as well. So make sure you shoot us some emails, thestrategisttv@gmail.com. If you want to see something, say, hey, I don't think you guys talked about this, you know, check out these games, here's the replays. We'd love to take a look, and we'd love to break them down on stream for you guys as well. All right, Buddha, you into game 2?
I am indeed.
All right, and I believe we have Seed versus Liquid Ret.
No.
No. All right, let me jump out of here.
We're doing Seed versus Yonghua.
So what? Okay, sounds good. Let me find that real quick. Bear with me here.
Sorry, I pasted them into the notes. I don't know if you saw.
No, I didn't. I'm not that far ahead. Oh, so that was set 2?
No, set 1.
Okay.
Tasia versus Yonghua.
Okay, bear with me. I see it. Tasia versus Yonghua. Excellent. I actually don't think I've seen any games by Yonghua before, so this will kind of be exciting to actually check him out.
What?
Are you crazy? Are you crazy?
I am Yonghua.
All right, one sec here.
A lot of these guys don't actually have NA accounts, so they're using some of the IPL accounts. They're using each other's accounts. It gets a little bit crazy. That's why we saw Protoss as Seed's account, because you know he doesn't have his own account for NA. So
yeah, definitely. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start this replay out in 3, 2, and 1. And in the bottom left-hand corner of Daybreak, we do have the blue Terran player representing Team Liquid, we have Tasia.
And at the top right, we have IPL's Observer A.
And in other words, also known as
Yanghua, of course. And, can you minimize the replay bar thingy?
I don't know what you're talking about, Willis.
The replay bar thingy at the bottom?
I took care of it. I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
Oh, you were messing with me again? Jesus.
Yep, just messing with you.
Come on, Octane.
I know, right?
All right. Well, I picked this game out because we're actually going to see a CC first out of Tasia, but it's going to be in kind of a cool location, and the way he kind of follows it up is a little bit unique to himself, and I just really like it. So.
Yeah, you actually don't see a command center first, actually, from a ton of Terran players. Sometimes it can be a little unsafe. Reason being is just because if you have a Protoss come out with a Zealot kind of Stalker Scout, which is very common early, that can kind of punish the Terran. Even that early, just 2 units can actually punish the Terran pretty well. So I'm actually really excited to see this. I do not see this often enough. But the benefit of it from a Terran perspective is the economy and the boost of economy so early in the game versus your Protoss opponent.
Yeah. Oh man, he hasn't even put his command center down yet, huh? Oh my goodness. SCVs, you take so long to build. All right, well,
yeah, right.
Basically, I want to point out we do have a 13 or 14 scout out of Yanghua here. He is scouting after Gateway, which is very common for Protoss, and Tasia knows this timing, right? So he doesn't want to put his command center at the natural, because then his opponent knows what he's doing. He puts it, like, right next to the natural.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, actually. If you swap over to Seed's vision, he does not see that at all. He pops up into the base, and this is kind of going to throw him off. And the reason being is because, as a Protoss player, when you scout this early in the game, right away you're thinking, Proxy Rex? What exactly is going on? Like, I don't understand. And so right now he goes ahead and checks the natural, and he's like, all right, there's no command center. What the hell is going on? And so now he's going to go try to scout some more, and he finds it.
Yeah, and, it's important that he finds it for Yanghua, but more importantly, look at the positioning for Tasia again. He did the same thing he did last game. He put it in a spot where his SCV can't be hit on all sides, like he did with the barracks from last game. So, really, really, really tiny thing. He's going to save all of his SCVs here, and he's actually going to scout his opponent in a second here with this SCV. Oh my goodness, you are scouting so late, sir. But most importantly, he's going to scout what units Yanghua has, and he's going to see that it's not a Zealot opening. He's saving those minerals, getting that Nexus up a tiny bit faster, and we're going to see a Stalker come out first. And for Tasia, that means I don't need that bunker immediately, right? I just need to have enough Marines to fend off a Stalker from kiting me. If it's a Zealot Stalker, he has a lot more hit points, a lot more armor there, and you really need that bunker. But against this, he doesn't. So a really good call by Tasia not seeing that Zealot there after going in.
Yeah, the Stalker actually coming out first as well from IMC's side. Reason being is because, okay, he scouted. And when he actually scouted, there were no barracks going down at that time. So he knows, okay, I'm not going to have like a 2 racks pressure. I'm not going to have a 3 racks pressure. So that Zealot, as you said, is not required right away. And on top of that, you'll actually notice that the warp gate that is actually getting researched is not being chrono boosted. This isn't, okay, I need to get warp gate done as soon as possible for IMC. And he's actually just, his main focus right now is getting that expansion up and getting the additional harvester count out right now.
And as we can see, the additional gateway should go down in just, actually, a second gas is already down for Yanghua here. So I think we might actually see a robo instead. And yeah, there it is. And now we should see the 2 gates come down. And this is a style that's very, I don't want to say greedy because it doesn't get you ahead economically, but it allows you to get your observer faster with less defense. And if you feel safe against something like a command center first, then you can really get away with something like this. And it's really cool to see that Yanghua is going to do that. Stalker out in the middle of the map getting caught a little bit, losing a little bit of health, not too much though. And we see a 4 racks follow-up with 2 gas from Tasia. And this is something I really want to talk about because normally we see that 2 racks follow-up, very standard into gases, into some tech with barracks, but really powering up all these barracks at once is going to allow him to get his upgrades and additional Marines at the same time, while cutting a few SCVs. As we can see, he missed a couple because he was adding on all of his production faster.
Yeah, and actually for those of you just joining us, this was actually a command center first for Tasia. Moved into 2 racks after that, and now, as Buddha said, he's moving into these additional 2 racks. And in the meantime, he's just going right away, going real heavy on the gas in order to support the add-on. So this is quite strong, actually, versus Protoss early game. It allows you to get several Marines out to hold off any pressure from your Protoss opponent, but then it allows your gas timing to be perfect when you actually need it. So I'm really happy, actually, to see this out of Tasia. And we'll actually have to see what we're actually looks like, which might actually be Robotics Bay coming out for IMC.
Yeah, and actually, Taja's going to go ahead and scan his opponent here, and he sees the 3 gates total. So he doesn't really know what's up. He did have Marines in the middle of the map, and he did check the Protoss player's 3rd base to make sure there wasn't a 3rd there. If there was, he probably would have committed with a couple of Marauders and his Marine base, but he didn't see it. So instead, he's trying to figure out what's going on. And this is why Tasia doesn't just lose in tournaments. It's because he scans, he's like, I see 3 gates, but I didn't see any tech. So I'm not 100% sure. And he adds another bunker. He doesn't even fill it. He just wants to have it so that if he does have to fall back, he won't immediately die to this.
Yeah, I mean, a very safe player, actually, Tasia. A lot of people would not. They just go, okay, I need to figure it out. I need to waste another scan. I need to sack a unit here or there. So I really actually like that out of Tasia. I mean, you could always go ahead and sell it. You get about 75% of the minerals back, but regardless. Well, we do actually see an observer midfield right now, scouting out the small army of Liquid Tasia. And IMC does know that this army is around his 3rd, and he is going to press forward with a few units.
Yeah, and on this map, it looks like Yanghua is actually going to go with a Colossus expansion. And we can tell that because he's got 1 Forge, and the Forge is really it tells us that he wants to get into the later game, right? There is no +1 Colossus timing attack against Terran, really. You can pressure with that, sure, but there's no, like, definitive, I'm going to try to kill somebody with this. So the 1 Forge tells us that he really wants to just kind of get to the late game, tech up a little bit, and continue this game. And if you guys don't know, there is a 2-2 Colossus timing attack off 2 base against Terran that we covered in a previous episode, but that one's a little bit more specific and has a little bit tighter timings here.
Yeah, and right now we do have the Protoss army kind of pressing out, cleaning up any Marines or any scouts that are on the map for Liquid Tasia. And it looks like we're going to have a little meet-up here. Stalker's getting pulled back. Have a Colossi in position, but yeah, right now, actually, Liquid Tasia getting pressed back into his base. Both players actually sitting on 2 base right now. And here's where that 2nd bunker is going to come completely into play.
And notice how Tasia surrounds the front of his bunkers with his SCVs. That's because if force fields are going to come down, he wants them to come out in front of the bunkers so that the zealots can't hit the bunkers also. Yeah. So, really cool move by Tasia. Really important to do that. He's going to lose SCVs to the Colossus, yes, but better that than just die, I guess.
No, I completely agree. We have 2 Vikings out on the map right now, kind of pressing back these Colossi, but I like the forward pylon by Yanghua. It's going to allow him to warp in units. Really nice placement as well. And we do have a press in by Yanghua. And by now, we're actually going to see additional Vikings actually coming out. I think he will be at 4 here in just a second. But it does look like Yanghua decides to pull back and go ahead and take his 3rd.
Yeah, and Yanghua is doing a somewhat similar build to what we saw Seed do previously in the last game we just witnessed, right? He did a little bit of a Colossus pressure. 3 Colossus is a lot. We saw Seed do it with 2, which is really important because that 3rd Colossus is 300, 200. That's a huge investment to make. And we saw really fast High Templar out of Seed, whereas Yanghua is continuing to make Colossus. And on this map, I think it's an important distinction to make that Colossus are actually a little bit better on this map than High Templar because drops are a little bit easier to stop here, in my opinion, because there aren't quite as many cliffs, right? You just have to defend basically your whole main, which isn't that hard because you're getting blinked very quickly, as opposed to Ohana where, like, there's literally, like, 14 cliffs everywhere at the same time. So Colossus on this map are pretty good, but he's not going to be able to attack in other directions quite as quickly because of his Colossus count.
Yeah, and actually Blink just finished up for the Stalkers along with +1 armor, 4 ground units, and Blink coming into play very nicely here, picking off a few Vikings. And Yeah, I mean, right now we're now seeing an opposite here. Yanghua actually pressing forward, taking map control, and Tasia actually moving back. Big thing to pay attention to, guys, though, is we do actually see the third pretty well established for Yanghua. So he presses out, and as you saw earlier, he didn't overcommit when he was in Tasia's natural. He went around and said, okay, you know, I did enough damage. I took out enough SCVs. Let me go ahead and take my third. So he is ahead economically, 65 to 51, which is pretty significant. But one thing to pay attention to, which Yanghua did spot, is this drop in the top left.
Yeah, it's a pretty massive drop too. I don't even know if I would call this might be just an alpha strike force at this point. 3 medevacs going to be completely filled with units here, and he's also got a force at the bottom that he's going to try to kind of multi-prong harass with a little bit. Yeah. As we can see, he tried to take the tower, and now he's going to scan, make sure there's no observer on top of his army at the bottom, load up the medevacs up top, and get ready for this.
Yeah, and it does look like Yanghua does know what's going on. We have Blink Stalkers moving into position directly in the natural, and in the meantime, the rest of his army is sitting at the natural, so pressing to the third. So I believe I've not seen this replay yet, pretty positive, though, that Yanghua is going to be able to hold this off as long as he keeps up with his micro.
Yeah, he's got a good number of units positioned at the top here, and as we can see, we have the bottom strike force, I don't know, getting cleaned up really easily here. Yeah. And Tasia didn't go, man. He kind of distracted Yanghua here, but he decided not to go in up top with his medevacs, and he took the tower in the middle of the map. He kind of wants to get vision of the opponent's army again here, and he's actually going to send it really late, and it's not going to go so well. So Taeja's taking his third. He's finishing his fourth up here. He's moving his army back to his base, and here come the medevacs, and look how quickly Yanghua reacts to this. Immediately snipes off a medevac, gets almost a second, but this drop is going to do almost no damage here.
Yeah, I mean, Zealots in the front, which are very powerful, with Stalkers in the back, additional weapons coming in, going to completely shut down this drop, and I really like it. I mean, I really like the fact that Yanghua was able to scout this out, and he scouted it perfectly because of those observers, and he was able to actually have those observers so early in game, as we talked about. He went with a more passive build, a little bit more defensive, but he did get out that robo very early after a cybernetics core, which allowed him to kind of have map presence. And if you actually notice, Liquid Tasia actually hasn't really cleaned up a lot of the observers around the map right now.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point. Our Protoss player has pretty decent vision at this point. Another drop behind the third is going to do quite a bit of damage. Marine's pretty good against probes. I don't know if anyone knew that.
Not so good against Templar, though.
No, they're definitely not good against Archons. And you know what? What? Oh, sorry, do you have something to say real quick?
Nope, just corrected myself.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Archons and not Templars.
It's really depressing that an Archon killing a medevac full of units only gets 1 kill.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. That's not accurate. Come on now.
He killed all of them. Well, alright, sorry. Huge attack here at Taeja's third base, and he's got a huge concave from behind his command center. Yeah. He's even going to use the command center to fight Zealots off, and he's taking a lot of damage on it, but it hasn't died yet, so he's in good shape. Look how many Colossus, though. 6 Colossus against a healthy number of Vikings here. He's actually at 9, so this is going to be a pretty fair fight here, and Tasia at the moment is kind of getting the concave, but he's losing a lot of mining time, of course, so give or take.
Yeah, and you know, Yanghua is doing a great job at denying his third. That's economy that's being affected, that's timing, everything is being affected right here just because of this push. So right now, Zealots are in, Chargebots are in, Vikings are pressing back the Colossi though, and right now, Yanghua could just head home. He did what he really wanted to. He denied timing, allowing him to get his fourth up and starting to get established.
Yeah, one thing he didn't really do, at least as far as I've seen, yeah, no, he doesn't have Storm. And I don't really get it, because he's got 2K and 1.5K in money banked here, so that would be a really good investment, I would think. Tasia preemptively making Ghosts, they're going to be great against this composition regardless, of course, at least in a small number, but, you know, I think this is a huge mistake from Yanghua. He's been floating all this money and hasn't really been teching all that much, only getting like 1 upgrade at a time, and yeah, it's just a little bit weird.
Yeah, we do see Storm coming out now, about 20% completed. Big thing to pay attention to is he is moving into speed for his lovely Warp Prisms, and maybe we'll see a little kind of like Liquid Hero play here, kind of do some Warp-ins in the main and kind of distract that Terran army. I'm eager to see that. I've actually kind of fell in love with the Liquid Hero's play and actually using his Warp Prisms almost like medevacs for simultaneous drops.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's something Hero is incredibly, right? That's what he's known for.
Yep.
He's known for his multitasking and drops as Protoss, which was incredibly unusual until he really started utilizing them a lot, and everyone's kind of copying him. But as we can see, we have personal cloaking for the Ghosts. Big engagement coming down in the middle of the map.
Yeah, and right now, that huge Viking army, just to give you guys kind of a number, 12 Vikings that are actually pressing in, that are ahead of the army. They can take the attacks from the Stalkers because they have a very strong Marauder army followed behind. Large engagement here at the 4th. Tasia doing a beautiful job, actually, taking down almost all the Colossi, and no reason why Tasia does not take this game right here.
Yeah, this is really what we were talking about, too. The lack of tech from Yonghwa here. He's got 3,000 gas almost, thing, and 1,500 minerals. I mean, yeah, make more gateways, but imagine if he had like 10 High Templars sitting there and Tasia walks his army forwards and he just like not only storms the army, but storms behind the army, in front of the army, and like 150 Terran supply just goes away in a second. Yeah,
I mean, Storm is pretty much the strongest thing against Terran that can be used. I would have liked to see Yonghwa actually not have gone into the Stalkers so heavily, because Liquid Tasia just went ahead and responded with a very healthy amount of Marauder count, and so that pretty much counters your Stalkers. So that was kind of the downside to that. In return, maybe a Zealot, Archon, High Templar, Colossi army would have been something cool, but right now it looks like now the Vikings are of no use, as there are no Colossi left on the field. We do have Pro pressing forward against the Terran army, and this might get cleaned up.
Yeah, it is going to get clean. Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean,
yeah.
It's 2 base versus 4 bases. All the Vikings have landed, killed the Robo, killed all the economy. There's like no mining going on for Yonghwa at all here. So we are going to get a GG, so we can go ahead and hop out. But I think the most important thing to take away from that game on Tasia's side is his definitive hold at the beginning, right? He made that second bunker early, didn't need it, but kept it. He was like, okay, I think I'm going to get attacked here. He saw the Colossus attack coming, started Vikings as quickly as he could. Only had 2, but with his SCV positioning to help repair the bunkers and all of his main units, like, sitting perfectly controlled, right? Like, if you have 2 Vikings against that many Stalkers, how many people do you think can keep all of their Vikings alive while trying to poke at the Colossus and keep them away?
Yeah. The
number's really small if we're talking about macroing at the same time. I mean, really impressive from Tasia, and if you want to learn something, that's a really good thing to learn, holding with minimal stuff.
Yeah, and actually, most of the time people are like, oh, the easiest way to beat Protoss is actually Ghost. Well, you didn't see Ghost actually make an appearance in that game until much, much later. And so key example there, the army composition by Tasia was perfect. But, you know, even if you mimic that, it really comes down to your micro and your unit positioning. If you notice, his Vikings were quite a little bit ahead of his army in order to intercept those Colossi, forcing the Protoss army back every time. So with a 12 Viking count, it was just a beautiful game by Tasia. And why don't we actually jump into our third game, which is actually going to be Tasia versus First. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
All right, let me go ahead and get that loaded up. Bear with me here one sec. Get to see my lovely new solid state. Hard at work here. And
I hate you so much.
Yeah, that's right. You love it.
Buy me stuff, Octane.
That's right. That's right. Alrighty, starting this game in 3.
Wait. Are you in the right game?
I am in Tasia versus First.
In the second set, right?
Correct, yes.
Alright, cool.
Alrighty.
All right, good.
And starting, hitting play in 3, 2, and 1. And starting in the bottom left-hand corner, we do have the blue Protoss player. We have First.
And at the top right, we do have Liquid Tasia, the star of tonight's show.
Woo!
You can go ahead and close that little replay boxing.
You are such a whore, but I love you.
All right. So, yeah, we're going to have another TvP here. I think this is the map that Tasia does live. I can't find my notes right now.
No, that's okay.
I'm too sleepy, so... yeah, we're just going to see what he does, and hopefully I remember this game from memory.
Yeah, no problem. And this was a map, I think, introduced 2 seasons ago. I actually really like it. But I'm interested to see, how Tasia responds to his opponent here. First, actually, becoming quite a well-known player. And I actually enjoyed watching him at MLG. And I actually got an opportunity as well to watch Tasia at MLG. And he's actually a lot of fun to watch. I mean, he's very serious during the game, but when he's done, he's like all laughy and giggly and all that fun stuff. So, pretty cool player.
It's all about exposure, man.
Yeah, apparently. So what are your thoughts on this barracks positioning for Tasia?
Oh, this is the map. All right. Or,
the game.
Match? Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so this is cool. It really makes first, holy crap, it's so hard to do this without like the player name at the top of the oh my goodness.
Yeah, you gotta love it, right?
Yeah, really. Yeah, it really makes first wonder like, wait, is there a second barracks proxied further? Because that's actually become really popular on the NA server, at least in High Masters, is people were like, oh, I can't deal with Protoss anymore after all these stupid changes. So people actually started 2-raxing against Protoss and just trying to catch a 1-rack or one gate expand.
That's what you get
completely
for not
off
sleeping.
guard and just crush it.
Yeah, that's what you get for not sleeping, sir. Your brain does not work.
I know. It's on low battery right now.
It's on low battery. All right, so that barracks actually was scouted just by a passing probe, so very nice job actually by first. On the opposite side of the map, though, we do see a cybernetics core completing in just a second here, along with the assimilator. So we're not going to see early Nexus or anything like that out of first. This is a very safe build thus far. And as you can see here, he's actually going ahead and chronoing out a Stalker. So we actually saw this last game out of Yangwa, and we're going to see it again here too. So good job, Buddha, picking these 2 games.
I do want to point out that because first played really greedy, and Tasia saw that it was really greedy because he didn't make that Zealot. He's not playing like as normal as he should be. This engineering bait is going to take so long to kill. Stalkers have such little DPS compared to Zealots, so this is really going to be annoying. And as we can see, the money for first was kind of growing a little bit, and now he's chrono boosting probes out again. Even though he was going to cut probes to make that Nexus, he's adding a second gas. He's doing whatever he can to kind of like keep his head in the right place, keep his money low, and spend it on something. And as we can see, like, this engineering bait is still here. That Nexus was supposed to be down like 40 seconds ago. This is why you have to make a Zealot in this matchup.
Yeah, and for those of you not familiar, you can go ahead and actually put an engineering bait down before your supply depot in the spot of a Protoss or a Zerg player, just because of the amount of health. It has much more health. Now, granted, you're sacrificing 125 minerals at first versus your 100. But this was very wise play and really high play, actually, coming out of Tasia. He scouted it. He knew his opponent was going to go with the Nexus following it up. So he reacted and denied it. And what this allowed him to do was get his natural down established and start to have units mining off of it. So very wise decision. Economy is everything in this game. Whoever's got the bigger economy pretty much ends up winning by the end of the game.
He's so smart. Yeah, so we see a completely standard build out of Tasia here. After dropping that eBay, he did go for the double racks, double gas follow-up, which is the most standard way to open this matchup. And it's actually fallen out of favor a little bit because it is so standard. But, yeah.
We actually see a small squad of Marines actually moving to the natural of first. They scouted around the map a little bit, made their way around left, and they're getting in right now, getting great scouting ability. Moving up the ramp, they are going to get blocked by a force field from that sentry. And these guys are going to try to get away. Most likely they won't. But what this does do is give them great scouting ability. Once again, though, we are seeing a robotics bay going down and an observer coming out first from our Protoss player.
We see robotics bay coming down. What time are you at?
What time am I at? 7:18.
Oh, okay. Just saw it now.
Oh, okay. Let me pause it or play it again. Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So, anyways, the robotics bay does go ahead and push out a observer. So, very nice job there. And this is what we saw last game, guys. The only difference is timing now because of the way that Tasia did react to it, and several Marines coming out due to the fact of that heavy barracks composition for production so early in the game. And yeah, this is going to be unique because you guys are going to have an opportunity to see how our two different Protoss players do almost the same build, but how it develops differently in late game. Do we see storms? Do we see less Colossi, less Stalkers? You know, what are we going to see late game here from our Protoss player?
Yeah, and the Stalkers can be a really good choice because they are okay against Bio, yeah, assuming you have that splash damage. And that's really what Youngball was missing last game. He was missing those storms from almost all parts of his play there for quite a while. And I don't think that's something that First is going to mess up here.
Yeah.
But as we... What's that?
Oh, no, you're good. I said yes. I agreed with you.
Oh, sorry. I keep hearing something, and I don't know what it is. I'm going crazy over here. But we have double eBay, and we have that reactor starport coming down, so a lot of tech coming out of Tasia here. And that means he's not going to have as many units, right? He's still stuck on these 3 barracks, as opposed to 5 or 6 that we would normally see off of 2 base when this 3rd base finishes up. So Tasia playing for the later game, just like, you know, we expect him to. But it's a little bit greedy, and he could get punished by a really, really fast Colossus timing.
Yeah, we do have 1 Colossi out on the map as of right now. In the meantime, we do see an additional one getting produced out of the robotics facility. And we actually will have Thermal Lance completed very shortly here. It is about 70% completed right now. And a great scan actually going down from Liquid Tasia. He does see that robotics bay working. So he does pretty much know what to expect here from his opponent. How he's going to react is the big thing here. Are we going to see Vikings coming out onto the map? It's all going to come into play when he goes ahead and takes that 3rd. But one thing that I want to pay attention to lastly here is his 3rd. His 3rd is actually sitting in his base once again. He's using it to go ahead and get his economy up with his harvesters and actually take full advantage of those mules.
That is a good point. Yeah, he's not playing too greedy here, moving it out and stuff. He actually sees that there's an army at the top with a probe, so he should know that the attack is kind of incoming. Yeah. And he adds that 3rd and 4th barracks, or sorry, what a bunker, and goes down and takes a drop with him to the bottom of the map here. So he's being a little bit aggressive, but he's playing safe with it, right? He's making sure he's not going to die with these bunkers and SCVs all over the place. So first 2 Vikings come out, and again, he's going to control them so they just barely hit the Colossus and drive him away. And he's going to continue making that Viking count until he gets up high enough that he can push out and try to counter-punish. That's a weird word.
And try to counter, yep. And it looks like we do have a drop of a few Marauders and Marines here. We have a large warp bin actually coming in of Zealots that are going to go ahead and clean this up. But the big thing to pay attention to is the Twilight Council. So are we going to see Blink again here? That's the big question. Are we going to see Storm start to develop shortly? But yeah, as of right now, it looks like Tasia did a beautiful job of holding this off with 4 bunkers. Keep in mind though that there are no Immortals out right now to take the damage here and also tank it and work on these bunkers. So the Vikings are everything.
And the most important part of that drop for me was not that it didn't do any damage, because it didn't really do any damage, but it forced First to warp units in back at his main, right? So yeah. There's not any more reinforcements coming in at the front, and Tasia feels a lot safer, right? He can put a couple of his SCVs back on mining. He knows that the reinforcements have been cut off for a solid 18-20 seconds here.
Yeah. And third still staying actually in the main for Tasia. He hasn't pushed out with it yet. And believe it or not, this little drop that we had talked about earlier is doing a great job of microing back and forth between the main and the third location of first. And all it's doing is helping deny that third. And it did a great job. And I'm eager to see who actually takes their third first. Are we going to have Tasia, or are we going to have first?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting question here because First was not planning on taking another base. He did add that forge and started +1, and he started Blink pretty soon after he realized that Tasia was ready enough for this with all those bunkers and Viking being able to be produced, which you saw with this observer. So yeah. He is going to go ahead and try to pressure again, and all of Tasia's units are actually a little bit out of position because he didn't have that watchtower. So, you know, Tasia's in a bad spot, but not the worst spot by any means. He's got a huge supply lead. Well, he was in a bad spot. What time are you at right now?
14:35.
Okay, I was looking at the stream and I was like, okay, so hang on, I'll just speed it up and I'll catch up. We'll be good.
That's fine, no big deal. So the third right now is about 50% completed for first. Nothing's getting mined here, but if you flop on the other side, we are see Tasia very well established in his third. Several mules actually down right now. And regardless of the Harvester count being higher for first at 61 to 57, Tasia is doing a beautiful job at taking advantage of this. And this is going to come back to benefit him. As you can see, his production for barracks is now going to be sitting at 8 and 9, 10. He's building additional ones.
Yeah, and, you know, 9 and 10 barracks are going to be really good on 3 base. It's going to give him a lot of production. And as we can see, his upgrades are way ahead, too. 2-2 is finishing, and our Protoss player is just finishing 1-1 here. Templar Archives is in production, Charge is finishing and stuff, but this Terran army should shred through this Protoss army at the moment, assuming he doesn't, like, leave his Vikings, you know,
like that?
a mile and a half away.
Oh, just like that. So, as you said there, though, in the very beginning, First wasn't expecting to go ahead and have to take a third. His original thoughts and his push was to end the game as soon as possible. But, sorry, cut that in half. Right over at the natural, we actually do see a drop that took out almost all the pros, actually, for first. And beautiful job. We do see Templar getting more, Archons getting morphed right now at the natural. And this is actually a very wise play by Tasia.
Yeah, anytime you can do economic damage, it's awesome. And those Marines and Marauders combined at that drop had 14 kills. So,
wow.
Really, really good. +3 is on the way for Tasia. First is starting +2 armor right now. So he's getting way behind on these upgrades. And like I said, man, Tasia, he went for those double eBays early to try to get an early lead. And he has guaranteed himself this lead right now. His upgrades are so far ahead. His opponent tried to all in him, and he managed to hold it with, like, very, very minimal amounts of stuff, right? Like, it kind of looked a little bit scary for a second there when those Colossus came up, but he had the perfect number of SCVs to repair. He got those Vikings out. He kited perfectly. And now we've got First kind of in a little bit of a precarious position where he's just finished his third. A fourth is finishing for Tasia. He's way behind in upgrades. His Storm is finishing, but really, honestly, like, he's going to storm all these units, and then all of his gateway units are just going to get completely decimated by these heavily upgraded Terran units.
Yeah, and actually, what's going to change the game here is the Storm is just finishing within the next, like, 2 seconds. So if Tasia was to hit prior to the Storms, like a minute ago, it would have been amazing against this Protoss army at the third. But now that Storm has finishes, it completely changes things because of how strong and how many High Templar are available to the Protoss player.
And Tasia wanted to attack there, but he saw High Templar and Archons in the army when he scanned or pushed up a little bit. And, you know, that's a scary thing. You don't know if Storm is done. You're not going to scan to see, oh, is Storm done? Can I actually attack now? Because what if you attack and 3 seconds later it finishes? So just having those units in the army for First was definitely, it saved his butt there.
Yeah, we actually do see the army out of position for Tasia. We do see First Army moving up the ramp on the natural. Vikings caught completely off guard right now, pulling back. We do see the army coming back into position. Vikings doing a great job against Colossi. 1 Colossi down. 2nd Colossi going down now. Storm's getting placed on that Bio army. And Vikings getting picked off left and right by these Blink Stalkers. Additional reinforcements coming down the ramp. And Tasia is kind of stuck in a predicament right now. Even though there are not that many units for First, the High Templar are scary, and same thing with the Colossi.
Yeah, and, you know, these Storms are decent, but Tasia is just like a boss Storm dodger, man. He's not a Storm chaser like that one show. He's going to dodge them all over the place. He preemptively dodges. It's really awesome to watch, actually. If he thinks, like, oh, he's probably going to drop a Storm, here, he gets out of the way and the Storm comes down, and oh my goodness. It is absolute insanity.
So there was a ton of units actually lost here for Tasia, most significantly the Vikings. On the other side, though, we actually did see a 4th get taken by First. But something to keep in mind is the 4th of Tasia is actually already established. Several mules actually right there. And even though it's a 70 to 54 harvester count, we are sitting on 3 bases getting mined versus 2 bases right now.
Yeah, and Tasia with a decent supply lead. A lot of that is in production, so the armies out front here are probably pretty close to even. And losing the Vikings actually, I don't think is that bad because he killed off all the Colossus. And at that point, you know, you want the free supply to max out. Of course, he's not going to be maxed out even if he had those Vikings, but it's not that bad because Colossus can't come out like gateway units can. So he needs to be more concerned with these high Templar here and invest supply to try to take care of those as opposed to the Colossus for now.
Yeah, we do see +3 armor actually just about finished up, but we do see +3 weapons just getting started for first, so we do have a 3-3 army of Tasia. So doing a very nice job of harassing this fourth, actually, and in the meantime, we do see another command center going down for Tasia. So Tasia is wasting no time and keep making sure that his economic lead does stand right now. We see only one Colossi actually out in the field with several charge lots and high Templar. So this could go in Tasia's favor as long as he, as you said, keeps on dodging these storms from first.
Yeah, and well, okay, so the Protoss army right now is 1 Colossus, 1 high Templar. Well, there's 2 more at the third, but there's really no splash damage here. Tasia has a supply lead. He is out of energy on his medevacs for the most part, so that's going to suck.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's got the 4th base secured. He's going to have a 5th secured in just a little bit here. He's scouting around for any pylons or ninja bases with Marines, making sure he's as ahead as he thinks he is. And DT Shrine comes down for the first. Oh my goodness, my voice today.
Yeah, it's actually back in the natural there. Right next to the gas, and in the meantime, we actually do see +3 to the weapons, about 65% completed. So DT's hoping to slow down the economy of Tasia, hoping to be super effective. We'll have to see how that plays out for him, because right now Tasia's army is quite scary.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, and he has a ton of orbitals too, so
yeah.
He might be totally okay unless he drops like a huge mule round and gets unlucky and all of his mule energy thingies are at like, you know, 20 or 10 or something, and then he has to start making that would really suck, but that's pretty rare here. So looks like a lot of Marauders are going to come down and just pick off these cannons and say, hey man, you want to come fight me? I dare you, because I am standing up here with the most gigantic concave of all time.
Yeah, we actually have 5 ghosts right now out on the map, pretty much waiting for that army to press forward to wipe away those shields. In the top left corner, we actually see a Zealot stopping the 5th from going down of Liquid Tasia. Eventually he'll spot it, but a large battle going on at the 4th.
Yeah, and the 4th actually went down, so that's a big deal, right? Because now Tasia's sitting here on 5 bases as opposed to the 30 of the Protoss, and another big battle. Look at that storm dodge, man. The only thing that got hit by that storm was a Zealot.
Yeah, he did get the storm dodge. Unfortunately, he lost all of his ghosts. They did not have cloak. They had no energy left. So all the ghosts are actually on the front line, but beautiful job with Storm. I agree. High Templar almost useless versus Tasia.
Tasia says, who needs ghosts? I got Marauders, bro!
Yeah, right? So, quite a number of Vikings.
Armies. But again, we do need to point out, Terran's making mineral units. He has a ton of bases. Protoss is on 3 bases and just lost, again, like 3,000 gas and has 200 gas left over. He's got nothing to be able to produce splash damage units. So Tasia, again, in a great position. And that's about all we can say about his position right now.
Yeah, we do see DTs.
He's going to win this game in the coming 3 minutes here. I know the supply is really low and the worker count is pretty low. It's only 33 for Tasia, actually, but he's got a ton of mules. It doesn't really matter. Protoss is Protoss sucks without splash damage. So this game is basically over.
Yeah, just as a last thing there, we actually did see the DTs press forward, but unfortunately not enough. Tasia, as you said earlier, had so many command centers with orbitals that he was just able to scan everywhere and clean it up very quickly. So awesome games actually by Tasia, and really cool that IPL actually put those out and made those available to us.
Thank you for putting replays out, because I can't stream GUM and commentate over it because it's not legal.
Yeah, there's for those of you, there's a lot of replays that are out from just like random people just throwing replays out, but to find replays from notable tournaments out there is extremely difficult. We've reached out to like MLG, and they're like, no, we don't give out our replays. So it's like, oh, like I can't get those.
You guys aren't famous.
And you can't get GOM ones either. You can't get like the GSL one. So it's like, oh, we can't get those either. So who else is left? Oh, IPL. Oh yes, IPL's handing them out. So it's really, really cool. And also special thanks to like Liquid actually teaming up with Razer. They've been putting out some really cool replay packs by their players, and we actually showcased Chef actually last week. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you go check that out on our YouTube. So anyways, I want to thank our sponsors for tonight for providing this show to you guys. Biggest sponsor we want to push out right now is tweakedaudio.com. That's what we're both using. If you guys are looking for high-performance, noise-canceling earbuds, you literally can't find better quality earbuds out there for the price. They usually start about $30. We have the Parkour earbuds. With our promo code BuildOrder, you get 30% off, which bumps them down to about $15.95, and you get free shipping anywhere in the world. We actually heard from a guy from Australia, ordered them up, and he couldn't beat it, he said, because the cost to purchase them from the U.S. was like half the cost he would have spent on shipping. So make sure you guys check them out, tweakedaudio.com, for lifetime warranty earbuds. You're not going to find lifetime warranty earbuds anywhere for $15.95. So make sure you check it out. They support us, so please make sure you go support them. Promo code's BuildOrder. Without it, you won't get the free shipping anywhere in the world, and you won't get the 30% off. So make sure you guys do go ahead and check that out. Finally, as well, make sure you guys keep up to date with us. We'd love to hear from you guys. Few places. If you're watching us on YouTube from one of our mods, check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/amovetv. If you're checking us out on Twitch, you've missed out on a ton of episodes, 10. So please go check.
Unless you were here every week.
Unless you were here every week. And if you were here every week, you get a gold star. Anyways, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/thestrategist.tv. You can see all the latest, greatest builds, all the information, replay packs, stuff like that. If you guys just want to find out when we go live each week, check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/thestrategist.tv. And finally, if you have recommendations, you have hate mail, you want to write love letters to Buddha, make sure you send them to thestrategisttv@gmail.com.
Man, I gotta write some hate mail.
Yeah, that's right. Write some hate mail. Send it that way. But we would appreciate it. Any feedback if you're liking what you're seeing. We've actually had a lot of feedback on our YouTube videos in regards to the comments. A lot of people shouting out to us, letting us know that they do appreciate what we're doing. We really appreciate it, guys. Like, we love seeing those comments. But more importantly, we love to see some really good feedback in regards to, hey, I love what you're doing here, but you guys could try to improve here, because we're doing this for you guys. So definitely, please shoot us some emails, shoot us some comments, let us know what's going on. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a show for tonight, Buddha.
All right, guys. Well, make sure you check us next week on Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. If you live in the Mountain or Central and you don't know your Easterns and Pacifics, then Google it.
Google it.
But yeah, for sure, make sure you guys check us out next week. We will have more awesome builds. If you have ideas for builds, make sure you email us. Yep. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Remember, practice hard, win easy.